Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda from Visualized NZ. I'm really late getting my video started this morning. I had cuddles with one of my cats and I'll tell you about that in a moment. And I couldn't not, so I'm very late doing this. So I've got a bit of an idea here. I don't know how it's going to turn out, just a little heads up. I don't know whether this is going to look any good or not. But come along for the ride and let's all find out together, shall we? So first up, I am going to stamp a bunch of pages. So I've already pre-stamped 2 pages because I thought you don't need to watch me do the same thing across 3 different pages. So I'm just randomly stamping, first with the script stamp, and this one is one from Hero Arts. That's one of my favourite script stamps. Good old woodblock stamp, so it'll tell you I've had it for quite a number of years. So I'm working with coloured paper and pastel shades. So I've already done a purple and a pink page, and now I'm doing the green one and just randomly stamping. And I'm starting off with grey ink with my script stamp. So this is Ranger Shadow Grey, and you could use whatever colours you want, you prefer, depending what look you're wanting. This is going to be for my Playful Days journal, hopefully, if it works out. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so next I'm going to use my vintage photo, and I've got this pattern stamp that was in a cheap set that again I've had for a long time. So I'm just randomly doing a couple of dobs, so the first dob and then the lighter one with the ink that's still on the stamp, because this is going to be cut up. So just random placement like so. So you can use whatever design stamps you like. I think script is always a good choice if you've got a script stamp. Right, so for each stamp I'm actually using a different colour ink, and you absolutely don't need to. You could use all the same ink, not a problem. Okay, so the next one I'm going to use is this one from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to stamp it in coffee from Ranger. So using a variety of different inks and stamps. This is a really pretty stamp. It's Fresh Vintage is what it's called, from Stampin' Up. And again I'm doing the first impression, which is dark, and then the second impression, which is lighter. It gives it some tonal variation, makes use of the ink, and covers in some spots, and sometimes you can even get a third one out of it, depending how well you've inked and how well you've stamped. Okay, so let's pop another one in there and one up there. Okay, so we'll call it quits for that one. Just giving it a wipe down, giving all my stamps a wipe down when I'm finished with them with a wet wipe. And I'm not putting them away, just for speed. And now I'm going to my archival onyx black, and this dotty background one, which is part of a winter/Christmas set from Rosie's Studio. Now Rosie's Studio is a New Zealand company, but I believe this stamp set is available in other brands. So, and this is an old one too. I've had it for a number of years. I don't know whether you can still get it, but you might be able to. But any sort of textural stamp will do. You could use anything you've got, anything you like, just about adding some interest onto this paper. Right, I think that will do it. So nice and easy, nice and quick. And my stamps are all cleaned off. Right, so this is the green one, and I've also got the pink and purple ones here. Okay, so I am going to do paper weaving Just give me a moment to move these stamp packs out of my way now that I've finished with those for now. So this morning I went ahead and cut up strips of my pastel papers here in preparation for the video, because I didn't want to put you all through cutting these. And then I thought, I actually want to try putting a pattern on these papers and seeing how that looks woven. So I might mix up these ones with these ones. I don't know, we'll see. There's 4 colours here, so there's a purple and then there's like a purpley blue. But I've only done the 3 with the stamping. So from here, I trim them down into 1 centimetre strips. So I turn my mat to the side and lining it up on my mat, and I just whip along with my craft knife, cutting at 1 centimetre interval. So I'm not going to cut them all. I'll pop you on pause while I cut the majority, but just to show the process. It's a bit monotonous to do, so it's, I imagine, monotonous to watch as well. If you've got a paper trimmer, by all means use a paper trimmer. With that first batch that I did this morning, I cut them into 5 centimetre strips on my paper trimmer, which was as small as I could get them without losing them under the plastic guard. And then I brought them to the mat to do my 1 centimetre strips. So it saved me a little bit, but not a huge amount. So I thought I'm just going to go ahead and do these ones completely with the craft knife. It's a little bit less fiddly in actual fact, because I'm not having to line up the separate strips, the 5 centimetre strips. This way I can just line it up once and just cut. And it must be said that my other strips are not straight at all. My cutter has a little bend at some point. It doesn't necessarily actually cut straight, which is another frustrating thing. It's a really good cutter, don't get me wrong, but I've found that for certain things it just creates a little, I don't know what it does, whether I'm pressing harder at certain spots or don't know, or whether the blade is not tight enough and maybe moving as I'm slicing down. I don't know. Okay, right, I'm going to pop you on pause now. I'm going to whip through the rest of this and then I'll be right back. Oops, try that again. Okay, I've finished cutting them up, and look what I did. There were 2 lots that I ruined. I went off the grid and ended up slicing through them. So I'll pop those aside. I may be able to salvage something from them for something else. I will have plenty for this project, so it's not too critical, but it was like, ugh. Right, I think I'm going to use my glue stick for this. I've got a sheet of coffee dyed copy paper here. It was one I'd folded as a signature page, and I've got the dark side I'm going to use as a reverse, and I'm going to cover the lighter side, which is a little bit less interesting. And I'm going to start weaving, so I will get to my story about the cat once we're underway. And I'm just going to take my first strip, put a little bit of glue on it at the top just to anchor it in place, and lay it down as straight as I can get it. These won't end up straight, they're going to end up with gaps and everything, so don't be too worried about that. And I'm just going to go random colours, like mixing and matching. I'm not going to try and create a pattern or anything. Right, this one I'm not going to glue down yet. Actually, I'm going to go this way. So I think this will be easier to work out. And sorry, I haven't done weaving for a while. I've done it on video before, but I haven't done it for a while, so I'm like, oh yeah, how did I, because I remember last time I made a muck up and I had all the one edge strip all the same way. It wasn't under and over, it was all one direction, and it was like, so now I'm trying to avoid that and thinking, oh, now how do I do it? Which is dumb. I mean, it's just paper weaving. It's not that difficult, not really. Okay, so I'm just going to keep building like this with whatever random strips. Okay, so that one needs to go over. Oops. And what I am going to do is I'm going to use this as bases for ephemera for the Playful Days journal. So I've got a number of pockets and things, but a lot of them don't have anything in them yet, so like tags and journal cards. So I thought, why not do some paper weaving to create some fun bases for ephemera. So that's my plan with this, and already I'm just loving the interest that the stamping is bringing to it. Now I might just jump in here and use a plain one just to bring a bit of relief, and also I've got the different colour which is plain, so this one goes under, so I can glue down that top bit up here. Oops, concentrating on lining it up kind of straightish. Okay, and I need another one across, so maybe we'll go with one of these more bluey ones. So this goes under that first. Oops, my glue stick keeps falling over. It goes over top of that one. And the thing is, when I cut it apart, I will need to go in and glue down the strips in the middle or around the edges, because they're not glued down in the middle, and that's fine. You just got to be very careful how you do that so that doesn't all fall apart. So cut one from one edge and then glue that, and then glue the next bit, then cut the next bit. So it's a bit of a process, but so worth it. You could just like lay glue down, but then you're going to get bits sticking where you don't want it to stick and you can't fit your paper in. So kind of yeah, it can be a bit laborious, but it's also something I find quite enjoyable to do too. Let's put this one over top, vertical. And when I say over top, I'm meaning at the beginning. So like at the very first, whether it's under or over. And then it goes, no, it goes over that one. Right, so I'll get back to my story about the cat. So you've probably heard me talk about Kelly before. She's our cat that doesn't come home a lot because she doesn't get on with the two younger ones. Actually, I need purple again. And she came home this morning, which was really, really lovely. So she came home and I got up and gave her some food, and our youngest cat was on the couch, and he was really good. He just stayed on the couch and watched her. And then she came over and hopped up, and I gave her big long cuddles. She was really happy. She burrowed her face into me. Very sweet. And then Georgie, our youngest, decided to come and investigate. So he came around me and under me and looked up and gave little warbles, but he was very good. He didn't try to jump up or anything, and he was being very sweet. But Kelly wasn't happy about it. She gave a few low growls, but she stayed in my arms. Normally she would jump down and run away, but she didn't. She stayed in my arms and continued to have cuddles. But the thing about Kelly is she has a very, very thick fur coat. Like, it's super thick. It's lovely to run your hands through. It's just, oh, and it's so soft. It's beautiful. And it's molting season. So I ended up covered in cat fur. and I keep picking it off my sleeves and off my project in front of me, and it's just like everywhere. Bless the darling wee girl. And then it got to a certain point, it's like, I need to do my video. I need to make myself a cup of coffee. I need to get on with my day. I've got things to do. So I had to, by this stage, Georgie had actually gone outside. So I popped her down on the couch, and she wasn't altogether thrilled with that. So now I've gone and not woven this one into, see, I'm too busy talking, not concentrating. Let's see if I can get this one where it needs to be. There we go. Fixed. Actually, what have I done wrong? I've done something wrong. Under, over, under, over, under. But this one's, that one's wrong. Just give me a moment. I can't talk and fix this at the same time, apparently. This is a lesson in how not to do paper weaving, but also what to do. Might need to grab a pair of tweezers here. What to do if you muck it up. And at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world. If it's mucked up, if you've got a patch that's not right, it's actually okay. It will be fine. It will still look good. Come on, come through there. I need to pull it far enough so I can then push it. And come on. There we go. Tweezers, great invention. There we go. Right, so then this one needs to go. No, that's correct. Yep, that's correct. And then under this one, and then over that one. Right, I think we're all good now. This is a bit of a bumbling tutorial. Not that I'm aiming to be a tutorial, it's just me playing and seeing what it's going to look like. So please don't take it as a tutorial. Anyway, so Kelly hopped off the couch, and she went and grabbed some more food, some more biscuits, and then she went out. So it was super lovely to see her. And nice to have cuddles, and I would have liked to have cuddled her longer, but you know, I'm busy, I've got things to do. And so she's had the best. She's had food, she's had cuddles, and now she's back off to do whatever she does for the rest of the day, probably sleep. And she did so in peace without being disturbed or molested by any of the other cats, which is always a bonus. The more that can happen, then the more comfortable she'll be about coming back home. Okay, did I use a blank one? Yes, that was a blank one. I was thinking I'd stuck it upside down. Right, I'm starting to get gaps already, and that's just how it is. That's what happens. You end up getting gaps as they don't sit together, or they haven't been laid down straight. Whatever the case, or a variety of those things. I think this is going to be super fun, actually. And paper weaving's not for everybody. I know it's not something that everybody enjoys, but honestly, I think the results are worth it. So, if I knew how to fast forward, then I'd continue weaving and fast forward that section so you kind of still saw it. But I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to pop you on pause. I'm going to keep going and bring you back towards the end. So be back shortly. I thought I'd just bring you back and show you how I'm getting on. I'm almost completed the length of it. I did get myself into a bit of a pickle, and I had made a mistake, and so I was fixing that, and then I started fixing things that weren't actually wrong. And then it sent me into a mind spin of completely forgetting how to weave. And I was like, is that under or over? And then I kept doing it wrong. And it just, yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me. It just totally discombobulated me for a moment there. So I'm glad I put you on pause and didn't record it and then speed it up, because you would have wondered what on earth I was doing. Honestly, it was just a bit of a mess, but I rectified it. I still have the original issue, which, you know, apart from redoing it, is still there right near the beginning. And then because I didn't rectify it, I continued to make the same mistake until I worked out I needed to almost start again from the point that I recognized it to get into the rhythm, because it's that was throwing me out. It was, yeah, just a total mind weird place I was in. But however, we got that sorted and it's all good, and I think it is looking really fun. So that's where I'm up to for now. So I'll pop you back on pause and catch up with you again in a bit. And here we go. It is completely woven now. I've got some trimming to do and some gluing down to do. So I have glued down the edges. When you come to the end, it's easier to glue down so it doesn't all fall apart, because usually end strips will fall off, as it did in my case. It's fine, you just slip it back in. It is still unattached in the middle, and so when you cut it apart, then do need to deal with that, as I said earlier. So I'm just going to trim off these excess bits, and I've got heaps of strips left over, so there's more weaving in my future. And I kind of realized something as I was, you know, had you guys on pause and I was continuing this process, and I realized I had a headache. And I don't function as well when I've got a headache. I'm not making excuses, like I completely mucked it up and I was just not in the zone. But I think just this headache that I wasn't even consciously aware that I had was going on in the background, and just kind of, I wasn't thinking straight, but got there in the end. It's not straight, and that's perfectly okay with me. It's not about getting it straight. It's just about something that's handmade and is a bit different, a bit cool, a bit funky, and in my case a bit playful, to suit my Playful Days journal. So right, there's lots of bits that I need to glue down, so I still need to do some gluing down on the edge. If I open my glue, it might help. As I said, headache, I'm not functioning 100%. It's going to be one of those days. So yes, definitely not a tutorial. And I know weaving is not everybody's idea of fun. And to be honest, I don't like doing it all the time. I just like doing it every now and then, because the results are worth it. I think they're worth it anyway. So I'm just getting these top little bits. And I've reverted to my tacky glue. I thought I'd give the glue stick a try. And it does give you a bit of manoeuvring time to get those strips sort of changed round if you make a mistake. But all in all, I actually prefer the tacky glue, because it gives you a quicker hold, and so things aren't moving around so much when you're trying to position them. And because I found with the glue stick, things were shifting on me, because I was moving the paper, it wasn't creating a firm hold, and so it just gave way. And I just found that quite frustrating. Right, there we go. There is my woven bit of A4 paper. And so now let's cut it into pieces. So I'm thinking a couple of journal cards will take care of half of it. And it needs a bit of straightening up still. I see down here I've got it a bit wonky. So let's trim that up first, otherwise I'm not going to be cutting straight. Grab my ruler And I'm cutting on this side just so my eyes don't get too confused with all the different lines, because I'm not worried if it's on the paper straight or not. And let's go about there. That should make a couple of nice sized journal cards. Just cutting carefully so it doesn't drag any of the bits. Yep, so just got a slight little sliver at the top. Okay, again, so how wide is this? This is 21, so if I go about 10.5, we'll make 2 evenly-ish sized journaling cards. Right, so there's one journaling card and there's the other. So I've got this little sliver here, which I'm wondering, do I remove? Yep, I'm just going to remove it because it's such a tiny wee sliver. And now I'm going to go in very carefully and put some glue in as far as I can reach the bottle. It doesn't need to go right into the middle because the edges will hold it. But just to give it a bit of extra and smush it down. And then again in on these little strips on top. Oops, that one didn't get right to the end on that underneath. And most of these you just need it like a dot of glue just to hold it. If you prefer glue stick, then go ahead with the glue stick, but like I said, I gave it a go and found it wasn't my preference. And it's completely not straight, but it doesn't affect the look of it. It still looks pretty cool. Well, I think it does anyway. This one, yep, definitely not straight on the edge. I might trim that down a little bit just so it's got, removes the edge that's showing of the coffee dyed paper. Not that it matters too much with coffee dyed paper because that's it's not white, but I think this will just tidy it up a little bit. Rid of the little fragments. And where do we need to glue? So we need some glue in here. And here. And then all along here. So reaching in as far as I can just to give it a bit of a not so lumpy bumpy in the middle, I guess. And just if it does give way at the edges, then it's not going to completely fall apart because I've got a little bit of that glue in the middle. Okay, and now just whip around these edges and get these little top ends. So we won't get time to decorate this. Of course, this video to you guys isn't that long, but I've been going at this quite a while. It did take me a while. I've never done an A4 sized paper weaving. And yeah, I'd have to say it's time consuming, even without all the missteps that I made. It takes a bit of time. So it's lunchtime here now, so I need to grab some lunch because I'm feeling very hungry. It's a long time since breakfast. Breakfast was at 8:30 and it's now after 12, so I'm ready for some food. What am I going to have today? I've got vegetables and roast pork left over, or I could make myself a sandwich. Been having sandwiches every day lately because I'm just really thoroughly enjoying them, and I think I might do the same. I'll save the pork for tomorrow in case I go out, then I can just take it with me and heat it up at hubby's work. and then I don't have to think about what I might be taking for my lunch tomorrow, or taking stuff to make a sandwich at his work. Right, that's completely crooked in places, but like, do you think it matters? I don't think it matters. I hope you can see the effect of the stamping on those too. I think it just adds something really cool to that. Right, so I think for this, I'm thinking tags. So maybe 3 tags out of it. So it is 21. So if we go 7 centimeters wide, then we'll get 3 out of it. Yeah. And yeah. And it doesn't matter if they're not even, because they don't have to be. But they are pretty much even. Right, so this is only connected at one edge, because this was the middle one. So very carefully, just lifting it up, laying glue all over there, and pop it down. And so please excuse me, I will do the edge bits off camera, because like you've seen me do that a couple of times now. Let's take off this wee sliver, and which side? This side's open. So in with the glue, and when I cut the little corners off for the tag shape, then I'll have to glue those down as well. So yes, quite a bit of work, not something you want to do in a hurry really, but I think it's worth it. Personally, I am pleased I did it. It'll probably be a while before I use up those other strips, because I think I've done my weaving dash for a bit. Sorry guys, my throat has gone all clogged. But the strip's already pre-cut for when I do feel like weaving, so I can miss out that first step and just get straight into the weaving when I want to do some more, which is always handy as well. Right, and I just want to trim down the top of this one that's again a little bit exposed of the backing. So this one will be just a fraction shorter. Probably took more than I needed to, but never mind. Okay, so there we have 3 tags and 2 journaling cards out of that sheet that I just wove, and I think they're going to be super. Hello again. I've had lunch and feeling a little bit more in control, I guess, maybe. So I thought I'd come back and decorate these up, because the first part of the video was only just a little over half an hour. So I thought we've got some time, so I'll just do some decorating. So maybe I'll tackle the journal cards first, so that because I did it on coffee dyed paper, they're already backed for writing. So it's just a simple matter of decorating them up. So of course I'm going to ink, and I could have gone ahead and done this off camera, but I didn't. So I'm just going to take a moment now, and any little bits that are still remaining where I didn't cover the whole background around the edges will now disappear under the ink. And I'll do the back as well. I won't do the backs of all of them. I can do that off camera, but I'll do the back of this one just to show what I will be doing. Just give it a nice little edging there. And I'll do the fronts of them all, because then you'll see what they all look like finished. So I've been around and I've glued all the little bits down. I'm half expecting that there's the odd place that I've missed, but I will find that out in the course of the process. Right, I'll do the tags later. Right, so I have grabbed out some images that I might like, and the first one is this cute, really cute illustration from a Frankie magazine. Please excuse me. And originally it sort of sits like that, but I'm thinking of maybe something more like that, and I really like that. So to help me remember where I want to place it, I'm going to trim off this bit here, and then I'll be able to just line it up against the edge. Yep, I think that looks cute. I think it's just a really cute image. It's fun, it's playful. She's blowing bubbles, riding on a fish. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? That just looks fun. Let's switch out my glue page here. It's a bit sticky on that side. Do I want to ink it? No, I don't think I do actually. And I'm not going to put anything behind this one because it covers quite a lot as it is. And I do want to see some of that weaving that I spent so long doing. So I don't want to cover it all up. And there's also, you know, enough going on in the picture as well with the background. Right, let's pop you down there, little girl. And fishy, fish or whale, or I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but it's a sea creature of some description. Just ink up that edge there where I cut off her legs. I'm sure she didn't feel a thing. Right, and do we want anything? I did grab out my labels and bits and pieces. I got as far as preparing that much. Just a wee one, I'm thinking. There's quite a bit of blue colours in here. So maybe a wee blue one. I'll reach right to the bottom. Yep, just a subtle little touch there. And I'm going to ink it just to get rid of any white that might be showing around the outside. And these labels are from Shabby Cottage Studio. I haven't used one of these for quite a while actually. I was just thinking as I was saying the name, it was like I haven't said that name for quite a while. So this was the first set of labels that I bought on digital. And so for a while they were all I used, and now I've made my own. I've bought some others from other shops on Etsy. And so yeah, it's nice to come back to these ones that I started off with. And there we go, one journal card done. Okay, let's go to this one. And I've got this image that I tore out of one of the books that I've used elsewhere in the journal. I feel like it needs to go here because the sun's looking this way. Don't want anything behind it. Again, I think there's enough going on. But I do want to ink this one, make use of its fussily torn edges. Because they pick up the ink really nicely. And it's raining again outside. They said it was summer. Do I believe them? Right. I might use tacky glue for this, just because the paper's quite soft and absorbent, so I'm not sure that the glue stick will have the desired hold. This type of paper can sometimes soak up like the glue stick, and somehow it soaks into the fibres and then doesn't actually stick. So let's just cut straight to the chase and use tacky glue. So about there looks good. And I think I want a bigger label on this one. Do I want a word actually? I might like a word. Don't want Make-A-Wish, that's not really sweet. Sweet kind of looks quite nice, doesn't it? These things. Too long. Nope, not right. Don't like it in the blue. Printable, no. Kind. Could go kind. I like the fact that it's on a similar colour to the background of the image rather than the brown paper that the sweet is stamped on. And that's a bit of old book page actually. Yep, I think kind. I'm thinking kindness might have been a little better, fitted a little better, but I think this is okay, so I'm just going to go with it. I have already made some choices on what I want for these, so it shouldn't take too long to get them all decorated up, and just the odd bit here and there that I need to work out, like a word. But I've chosen the images, got more than I need, so I might need to decide which way I'm going with some of them. Right, and just like that we have 2 journal cards, rocking through them. Okay, let's go to the tags. So first I'm going to create the tag shape. Let's go about there. Oops. And then I'll have to just give a little check that the edges are still all glued down, because I suspect there'll be areas that are not. Right, little fragment that came off there. Right, now I'll use that to do the other 2. Oh, the cats are coming in. It's raining. We want to come inside, Mummy. Hey, Georgie. It's not a good time for cuddles, bud. I have a feeling there might be a cat land on the desk any moment. He's looking up at me. He's such a cutie. Aren't you, Georgie? Right, now let's give a little test. Oh, yes, this one. So I think this one seems to be okay, but this one definitely needs some attention. Georgie, Mummy's a bit busy, darling. Poor Georgie, he did want to come up. He just paws up on my leg. It's like, is there room for me? Right, and this one, oh, just a little bit there. So a bit of running repair where I trimmed it off. Good to go. Okay, so I'll do this one, ink this one first, since I glued it down first. Had a little bit of time for the glue to dry. I didn't glue this one, did I? It was fine. Miraculously, it was okay. Right. Well, I do have to say, congratulations if you made it this far into the video after all my bumbling around in the first half. But you know, that's life. That's crafting. It doesn't always go according to plan, and some days you just can't quite get things together, or at least that's my experience. And today was one of those days, but I think a few more fluids, bit of lunch, and I think my headache's eased off for now. Hopefully it's all good from here on in, because I've still got a video to record for Patreon today. So that's going to be a bit later going up than normal too. Okay. Now I was going to punch a hole in these, but then we would not have it glued. So I think I'm going to abandon that idea. And we will not have holes punched. That will create any issues. Okay, so I've got this image, which is rather sweet, cut out of a storybook. And I've got this one cut out of the same storybook, so it's the same little boy, which I thought was rather cute with the dog, and the dog's got a butterfly on his nose. And then I've got this one from a different storybook, a nursery rhyme book actually, which is quite nice as well. And I've got this one, which is a part of printables I've got over on Patreon for January. So they're available whenever you join. If you join Patreon, they're always there to access, but that's just one of the ones I loaded up for this January. So it's a new one. So I need to decide which. I really like this one, so let's go ahead with this one first. I'm going to have to trim off little bits of poor Poochie and the boy as well. He'll lose a bit of his hair, have a haircut. I'll use tacky glue, but I want to trim it first so that I'm not putting tacky glue in areas that I want to then cut off, which would make my scissors all gummy and gross. Oops, which apparently they already are anyway. A little bit of paper stuck to them there. So let's trim up first. Sorry doggy, you're losing part of your leg. It wasn't a complete leg anyway, so I don't feel so bad. Right, and I do want to ink because I didn't cut them out all that well, so I just want to get rid of any bits of, and I was actually going to cut the boy out completely and just have the dog, and then I changed my mind, so slightly cut apart there, which is fine, but I thought I actually like his big smile, big goofy cheesy smile on the boy's face. I thought that's fun, that's playful, and that's what this journal's all about, isn't it? It's about playful days. So I decided to keep him, and once he's glued down you won't notice that there's a little cut. Come on glue, come out. There we go. Oops, if I can hold it properly to put the glue on. Making sure I get to all the points and places that could be a problem and lift up or catch on things. Right. Make sure I line you up nicely. There we go. I think he is cute. How adorable is that? The cute dog with a butterfly on his nose and this cheesy wee boy. That is super, super cute. I think that's adorable. I think I do want something up the top. Where did I put the words? Have we got a little word? Laugh might work. Suit the image. Let's go with laugh. Do we need to put anything behind it? I think we need to ink it. And just wondering, have I got a wee circle? I don't know that I do. Wee circle label. No, one of these ones might work though. They're not circle, but they're small rectangles. So what colours? This one might be alright. No, I don't think it will do what I'm wanting it to achieve. Oh, actually it's not bad. I'm going to put it on. I thought it was going to be way too small and the wrong shape for what I wanted, but not too bad. Oh, and the cats are both back outside again. Okay, and this one I think will be okay with glue stick. Now I am thinking about a topper, what sort of topper we might like, but I'm just going to leave that for now. I do like the ice cream. I think it's completely different, but it's fun, it's playful. To me it speaks of playful days, of enjoying the sun, having an ice cream. Again, I didn't cut it out particularly well because I was rushing, so I'm just going to give it just a little touch of ink just to hit on those areas where I can see a little bit of white. Just a touch. Here we go, and I'm going to pop that down. And what word might work with this, or something, not necessarily a word. I should have changed out my glue page. Here we go, got it. I'll stick you right in the middle. Like so. Right. Wondering whether I've got any labels in here out of my digital kit that might work. Piece of paradise. Summer. I think I like piece of paradise so far. It's got nice length on it too. Lawn clippings, perhaps not. Peaceful. I like piece of paradise. Ice cream can be a piece of paradise, can't it? Depends whether you like ice cream or not, I guess. I grew up with someone who didn't like ice cream. To me, that's a weird concept, that to not like ice cream. Like, I understand not liking a particular flavour of ice cream, but just to, in general, not like ice cream at all, I find quite unusual. But there are people out there who don't like ice cream. There we go. Cute. I like that. Now, the third one. What do I go with? This wee boy or this little schoolhouse? I really like the little boy, but I'm thinking the schoolhouse is just a little bit different. Let's go schoolhouse, and the little boy can go somewhere else. I think I'll find more uses for the boy than I will for the schoolhouse, so let's go with the schoolhouse. A little bit of ink again with my tacky glue when I find where I put it. This is from a nursery rhyme book. It's got the cat and the fiddle on the side that I'm gluing the music and the words to it. Love looking at books like this. It really takes me back to my childhood. Alright, it's like, I remember that. Right, and this is also a really nice fit. The boy is as well. A really nice fit for the size of the tag. And do we want something, maybe a word? No, not feeling any options there. Wondering if there's anything in here instead. Memories? Does that make it look unbalanced though? I think possibly it might. Word, no word. Word, no word. No, I think as is. I think to pop a word on is just kind of throwing out the balance for me. So there we go. Toppers. A whale tail is about the only thing I can think of as an option. So let's have a wee look. Try and find ones that might fit with the colours. Wrong sort of blue. That one would work there. That one would work there. And that one will work there. Okay. Right, these haven't been particularly well cut out either. There's little white edges, so give them a quick ink up. And I might have to do a little trimming down on the sides because I think a couple of these look to be narrower. The tag's narrower than the whale tail, but that's right. I can glue them on and then give them a wee trim, not a problem. Oh, very lumpy. You might know that I had flowers pressing in my glue book for a while, which are now flat and dry. Well, yesterday I went out and picked some more flowers, different flowers, and put them in my glue book. And so it's lumpy again, and like even lumpier because I've used a lot of pages, so there's less to my book, less padding. I think I had the blue flowers on the front, didn't I? Although it doesn't actually matter, as long as I can get those edges to glue down to each other, I don't think it will matter that it's wider. Get these little bits here. Then, yeah, I don't think it matters. I won't need to trim it down. So that one. So I'm really pleased that I've gone and got these all done. Because that was what I was hoping for when I set out to do the video. Just took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But you were spared a lot of that, so that's a good thing. You'll be greatly relieved you didn't suffer through it with me more than what you did. I might put the less floral side Oops, just trying to get it straight. There we go. And this gives a nice decoration on the back as well, where it folds over. Nice little topper. And last one, and then we are done. And I'll ink up the backs and they're good to go. So, yay. Making progress, guys. That's what I wanted, to make progress on these journals. And I didn't ink this one. Never mind, it's going down. It's going down as it is. Oops. Urgh. Come on. It's not wanting to play ball. Yeah, that's good enough. And again, just get these little corner bits. They'll stick together. Then I won't need to trim. I think I might need to on this one because it's not quite sitting right. So let's give it a quick trim. And I'll just go around the edge of it with the ink when I do the backs. Here we go. Just tiny little snippets off. Right. So there we go. We have managed to do 2 journal cards and 3. Sorry, I'm just trying to clear off stuff. It seems to be very cluttered. And 3 tags to go in the Playful Days journal. How's that? I'm pretty happy with that, and I think they look super fun. They're colourful, but not too in-your-face colourful because I use pastels. I hope that you're inspired, that you're not put off by the muddle that I made of this process. I made it look more difficult than what it is. It is a bit time consuming. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you didn't miss the end of this video where I brought everything together. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks everybody. Bye.